Hi, Stuart Barn here, and in this video we're going to introduce the minor pentatonic scale CAGED shape 4. Shape 4 is probably the second most common shape, so very important to get comfortable with this one. As with the previous shapes, we're going to do this in A minor, so we'll be playing over an A minor chord using the A minor pentatonic scale. Here's the shape first of all. And I will put a link down below in the notes to this shape on my website. Just get it on screen or print it off on paper. Now, the root note for this shape is here. So it is on the A string where the first finger would typically go within this shape. So that means, just like a bar chord, if you need to play the B minor pentatonic scale, you would need to move this shape so that this finger is on a B. That's the B minor pentatonic scale. We're going to stick with A. So that's enough to get you started. Stick an A minor in your loop pedal, or record yourself by some other means, or get a backing track on, or use Band in a Box, and just experiment by playing phrases. As I mentioned in the previous video, if you need help with how to improvise, check out my series of videos called How to Improvise on Guitar. I'll put a link to that in the bottom as well. So here's my A minor. Hopefully you'll agree it fits very well. So stage one, just get improvising. Let's take it a little bit further. Where is the other root note in this scale? Well, it's here. So as a minimum, we need to know where one of the root notes is to position the scale shape correctly to give us the scale we want. But as we've mentioned with previous shapes, finishing phrases on the root note, either of these root notes, tends to make it sound closed off, like there's some a degree of completion about the musical statements you've been making. And that's a very useful trait to be aware of. It's a useful feature, it's a good skill to have. So if you want to develop your improvising a little further, get the same backing on, your A minor backing, and then sometimes finish on a root note, sometimes don't finish on a root note. For example. So that last bit there, where I finished on the root note, that kind of rounded things off. It made them, it could have potentially brought an end to the musical statement. It could have been the end of a solo, for example. Okay, so let's bring a little bit more information to the table. Imagine the entire A minor chord that you're playing over. Now that is this. It has to be this shape because this is the only one that fits the same region that we're improvising over with this shape. So this is the A minor chord, CAGED shape 4, and we're playing the A minor pentatonic scale, CAGED shape 4 as well, because they occupy the same region. As we said with the previous shapes, an awareness of whether you are or are not playing the notes of the chord is very useful. So these notes, they sit very easy with the chord. They don't really actually introduce anything new. You're just repeating notes that you're already listening to, which is fine. It just means it's going to be very stable, very compatible with the chord. Whereas these two notes, for example, they're not in the chord. So they have quite a different effect. They create some degree of tension rubbing against the chord. As I said before, tension is not a bad thing. It's just an effect, and it's a very useful effect. And seeing whether you are or are not about to create tension by what you want to play is very useful. So here is a quick demonstration of me playing some phrases, some of which focus on chord tones, some which do not. Okay, so hopefully that was nice and clear. The first half was mostly chord tones, the second half was generally not chord tones, and the effect was quite different. I also wrapped it up by landing on the root note, which hopefully you agree sounded like the end. Okay, so those are your 3 stages. Just get improvising any or how, then try improvising with an awareness of whether you are finishing on root notes or not, and then try to visualize the chord as well as the scale shape that you're using, and try to be aware of when you are or are not playing chord tones. As always, I hope you found the video helpful. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and click subscribe so I can send you more. See you in the next video.